Okay, it looks like we are going. So let's go ahead and just press this button right here. And here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, this guy needs coffee and crullers. Stash.
All right, and welcome everybody to another episode of Coffee and Crullers. I'm your host, Adam Black, and today, obviously, there is a lot of differences that are happening right now. Things that I'm very excited about, honestly. And I want to talk today about inspiration during these hard times because I have been incredibly inspired. So inspired, in fact, I'm sitting here looking at my computer. So inspired. Check this out. Watch this. For anybody that's watching online right now, boom, camera change. Right there. That is amazing to me. I am absolutely loving this. This is kind of what you're seeing visually this is my go-to podcast studio as of right now. I've filmed in here before, and this has been my personal office for a long time, but this is something that I'm going to be kind of transforming as we continue out through the months, as I'm trying new things and doing just different things in general with the podcast. So anyways, let's talk about this. Why am I doing this? One of the things, I've talked about in the past, and there is the reason I keep reiterating all of this is because this has been, I see the numbers. It's been a very low listened to podcast. So whenever somebody jumps on, I want to explain myself a little bit. So I did this podcast with my best friend for a while. That kind of fizzled out. No bad blood, nothing, just not being able to get on the same schedule with each other, trying to do this by myself, and I am learning all over again how to do this by myself. It has certainly been a challenge to kind of just figure out what I'm doing. Talking to a camera by myself, everything. Sitting behind a computer helps. This is kind of I want to say a natural habitat for me. I can sit here and easily look at what I'm doing and just deal with the production side of things. I can also add some music, which makes things a little bit easier. Oh yeah, check that out. That helps the talking points a little bit, actually. So I'm going to keep this going for a little bit, just so we can kind of get the ball moving a little. So this is something, let's rewind. Doing all of this is in itself what I like doing. Making the, oh, that stopped. Okay, I'm going to have a problem with that, so that's not going to work. Working out the kinks right now. But doing all of these things, setting everything up, this is actually what I enjoy doing. When it comes to getting behind a camera and everything, that's the difficult thing for me. Sorry, I'm even looking at the wrong camera right now. I'm learning this. This is all brand new to me. So please bear with me. So I'm going to switch back over to this camera. Yeah, so this is my main camera right now, and for anybody that is listening, just the audio side of things, what I'm trying to get at is I've been working on some technical things to make this better, to make this stand out in a more comfortable way for me personally, so that I can actually communicate myself in a way that I feel natural doing. And sometimes talking about production and certain things is what helps me. But in this instance, what the double camera setup and all that, none of it actually matters if you're just listening to this. But what has inspired me recently is the influx of people getting out there and creating new content across the board of various forms, whether it's, people releasing new music because they've been locked up in quarantine, or it's people making videos again, or new podcasts, or even seeing pieces of art. I have friends that I see writing poems and everything on Instagram. It's fantastic. And for me, one of the things that kind of recently stood out was, of all the people in the world, Tom Green, MTV's Tom Green, that guy. I've been a fan of him since I was, a teenager. I really, well, even earlier than that, I guess. But I loved Tom Green. I probably shouldn't have been watching his show growing up. But the thing that inspired me recently was I was watching his new podcast, and it's basically him just kind of fooling around with a bunch of equipment, and he's just been testing things out. But he's been testing things live, which has been fascinating to me, that most people have things worked out before they kind of get on camera. And that's something that, I struggle with because I want it to be perfect. And he gets on there and he just doesn't even care if it messes up or if it doesn't work. He literally gets on there and he's like, okay, well, I'll fix that. I'll order something to, make that work next time. So my point of that is he got on there and he started doing this podcast, but he started doing it in a way that I've not seen anybody do. And it was just for him. Yeah, he's talking to fans and audiences and things like that, but he's really talking about how it helps him stay afloat in his own brain, because that's something I've talked about before. Him doing the act of making the thing is what inspires him and keeps him going, and the same thing goes for me. So I just want to encourage people right now, whoever is listening, that sometimes you just got to get out there and do it. So I've got things breaking right now in my head. Like, this is supposed to be looping and it's not. Let's try it again, actually. See, because that's so nice. When the music's playing. I made this, by the way. I made this little track. That way we can't get in trouble with any copyright infringement. But will it work? That's the question. See, it doesn't. It's supposed to just loop. See, there it goes. That pause is not fun. Oh, you know what? I can fix this right here on the fly. Here we go. All right, now we're in business. Now let's talk a little bit, because I really, really like this setup. So let's talk about this setup real quick. And I know this has never been a technical podcast. Sometimes it's to throw a little Wayne's World reference in there. It's two chimps on a Davenport in a basement, and that's a reference that's kind of a deep cut. But anyways, what I'm using to make this happen, and this is not going to be my permanent setup because I actually don't own all of the equipment. I am borrowing it right now, but I'm using the Sling Studio, and that allows me to set up multiple cameras and do this, where I can kind of switch back and forth, look at the cameras. I can throw up, my title slide and everything like that, like you're seeing right now, which is really cool. But this is something that I just want to use as much as I possibly can. Which camera? There we go. There's a little baby light on top of the camera, so let me see which one I'm looking at. But this is a really simple setup. I'm literally using the Sling Studio, which is the main thing, 2 cameras, running it into my computer, and then I'm actually using a Zoom H4n Pro. You can kind of see it in this camera shot right here. This little guy right here, I'm using that to plug in my microphone, and then I'm using my cell phone to cue all the audio triggers. So I can get on here and I can kind of be like, the more you know. It's just one of those things. Or I can, just throw a little laugh in there. So yeah, back to the music. But this is really simple stuff that it ignited me though when I saw Tom Green do this. And honestly, the technical level that his stuff is at is on such a higher volume that it's not even funny. So yeah, that's just kind of how I open this up, that this is a work in progress. So I'm obviously creating the video besides this. And I definitely think that the video aspect is going to be one of the things that helps propel this channel and this podcast to the next level. Because I really don't know what I'm doing. And especially by myself, it's hard. But I still want to do it no matter what I do. So with that being said, I want to get into something that has happened to me over the past week. So with that, we're going to get into top stories. So top story this week is a little, I don't want to say Debbie Downer moment, but it's a top story that happened in my life. So one of the things over quarantine, a lot of people are dealing with job loss and things like that. And for me, I think I'm there with a lot of people. So I haven't necessarily been let go of my job and I haven't necessarily resigned, but I've been asked to give back all of my work related equipment that is kind of expensive, pricey things like MacBook Pros, stuff like that. I've been asked to give that back. So, not getting into too much personal information here, but that is something that I think is a top story in my life. And the only reason I bring it up is because if anybody has listened to this podcast in the past in any capacity at all, they will know that I am a worship pastor. That is what my primary thing in my life is that I enjoy doing. Even though I am not in full-time ministry, I do not get paid for full-time ministry. This is something I do on a majority of a volunteer basis. I do get compensated every now and then, but not a regular paycheck to pay my bills. So I work another job on top of that as well. And the story that I just mentioned about having to give all the stuff back, that is directly affected for that job, my salary, all those things. And the reason I say this is because it sounds like a bad thing. It really does sound like I'm sitting there going, man, I'm losing my job. Things are, a little shaky right now. I don't necessarily know what's going on. But what I'm actually feeling, coming out of this little week of confusion of what's going on is I feel so free to do things and to create things and to move forward with a lot of things. But that doesn't mean that I'm just ready to go jump into another job, spend all of my time, effort, and energy doing something new when I feel that I am capable of doing things on my own in some capacities. So I'm going to turn the music back on because this is one of those things where I didn't see this coming. I do my personal YouTube channel and I have a small fan base on there, as many of you guys know who listen to the podcast. And one of the things that I have been doing is not making videos like I said I was going to. I've made videos so many times saying, hey, I'm going to be making more videos. I'm going to be making more videos. And then I don't do it. And there's always been a reason behind it. This most recent episode of things happening in my life is another reason. But this is the kind of the thing that's funny to me is because of everything that has happened, I now feel free to make videos again. And I'm excited about it, which is a whole different thing entirely for me. Being excited about making videos is honestly probably the most important part about making any sort of video, any sort of content at all. And so basically what I'm trying to get at is not only am I going to be making new videos, I am going to be starting up my own business as well. And this is, it's not some grand scheme of a business at all. And I think many of you are going to laugh when I say what it is. But YouTube is really funny because there's a lot of things that I consider myself doing well on YouTube. And many of those things is sometimes technical reviews on how certain pieces of equipment work, how you can maximize things to your benefit. Like one of the setups that I have here, I can kind of go into like an in-depth thing about this and make a video about that. That may be for another day. And I believe that would help somebody. But one of the other things I really enjoy is like satisfying cleaning videos that you see on YouTube. And one of the many videos that pops up is pressure washing, power washing, whatever you want to call it. It's pressure washing though. And I love watching these videos. And basically I was watching one of these when, my world kind of got flipped upside down with my job over this past week. And as I'm watching it, I'm saying, well, I can do that. I can go pressure wash. I would love to actually go do that. And then my brain started going, well, I can make videos about my pressure washing journey too. If I have a client or anything like that, I can sit there and say, hey, I'm gonna film this and just make a 20-minute video of me cleaning a patio from beginning to end. If I watch it and millions of other people watch it, sure, I can add to that noise a little bit and I can make some videos about that. And also that would get me back in the saddle a little bit of making regular videos and vlogging again. And my brain just was going, crazy. It was just spinning out of control. And so long story short, I bought a new camera that's waterproof and I bought a pressure washer. So that is the top story of the week right now, that I am going to be venturing into a pressure washing type of business. And I don't know how serious it's going to go. I'm going to try it. I've actually never pressure washed for another person ever before in my entire life. I've used pressure washers. I used to work construction, so I know my way around the equipment. But it's new. This is all new to me. So I bought a starter pressure washer so I can kind of just work around my house, do various jobs, maybe film that, get myself started a little bit, and then kind of branch out from there and see if anybody is looking for work to be done, whether it's literally cleaning mud off the side of their house or pressure washing their stairs or I don't know, whatever, graffiti removal. There's tons of applications for pressure washing, and I'm gonna be doing that, I guess. So that really is my top story, and that's really about it as far as that goes. I'm laughing hysterically about it. But guys, I'm actually going to start wrapping this up here. And one of the things that I'm going to continue to do, and I'm actually going to try to do this right now. Let's see. See, the beauty of this program that I have is I can sit here and I can say, nope, not letting me type. I got to figure this out still. For anybody who's just listening, I'm sitting at my computer and I have this program, the Sling Studio program in front of me, and I'm usually able to put some sample text on. Why won't it let me type? Oh, here we go. COFFEEANDCRULLERS at gmail.com. Okay, it will not let me type in all that stuff. I guess I do not have enough space to do that. So anyways, disregard everything that just happened. What I'm trying to do is direct you towards my email, because I'm still working on developing a platform and everything. So if you have any conversation that you would like to have, any questions, concerns, talking points, anything, please send me an email to coffeeandcrullers at gmail.com. That is spelled completely all the way out, coffeeandcrullers at gmail.com. Also, we have nothing on it, absolute bare minimum, but I did start an Instagram page, and it is just at coffeeandcrullers. So I'm going to be uploading things on that, making things work a little bit, and kind of going from there. But I would love to hear from you. I want to grow this. I truly do. But I don't necessarily want to grow this just to have numbers. I really don't. And I think it's important to talk about that right away. I want to grow to inspire people. I want to grow to help people. I want to grow to encourage people. And I want to grow to push people out of the ruts that they're in into something better, into something more beautiful. And hopefully we can laugh along the way. And that's why we have some music in the background again. Because it's that good. It's that good. Plus, I love this little riff. It just loops and loops and loops. Doesn't get old to me. You probably hate it already, but you know, it's part of the deal. But anyways, please let me know what you think too. Like, do you guys actually enjoy the double camera setup? Do you enjoy the audio quality, everything? I am actually talking into this microphone so you can hear me kind of get really close to it. So this is something that's new to me. I'm talking to the wrong camera again. Something new to me, but also something familiar. Normally, I'm the person with a lot of my jobs in the past. I'm the person usually on this side of the equipment for somebody else. So it's weird being on this side of the equipment for myself. I feel like I'm pressing a lot of buttons, clicking a lot of things, but it's working out pretty good. I think it's not a bad situation by any means, and it looks pretty nice too. Anyways, real quick, let's go back to this view real quick. As you can see, I got a ukulele right here. There's a mess down here. Everything's a mess, really. But this is my Game Boy shelf that I really, really love. I've got like a pedal board back here as well. But behind me, this guy back here, that is my Toys R Us checkout light. And if you've listened to the podcast for any period of time, you would know in some of the earlier episodes, we loved, and we, as me and my best friend Noah, a former co-host, love Toys R Us, loved talking about it. And, excuse me. And the checkout light has made an appearance before, but I feel like it looks really good right now. I charged the light, it's a battery light in there. I could plug it in, but just looks better this way. But it looks good. That's my Toys R Us checkout light. When they went out of business, I went in there and I said, you guys are selling all your furniture and stuff, right? And they said, yeah. And I said, well, how much for the checkout light? And they said, well, we're using it. And I said, yeah, but you're going out of business. And they said, yeah, you're right. But it'll have to be one of the last things that we sell. So they decided that on the last day that they were in business, I had to wait for the doors to close. And as soon as they closed, I was able to unscrew it from the counter and take it. And I paid $5 for it. And it was from the Toys R Us that I shopped at my entire life. So the checkout light's probably, certainly newer than that. But it's the memory. It's the memory that matters to me. And I love the checkout light. So I just wanted to share that because, we got a set going on here. I mean, check this thing out. Look at this. Got my tiki stuff. Got a lamp. There's a hula girl right there. Atom bomb back there behind some candles. We got stuff going on. I think this is pretty cool. And the music's not that bad. All right, guys, but that really is going to wrap it up for this podcast. I am very excited to get this one out here for you and to grow this. Please consider sharing this with your friends, with your family, with whoever you have in mind. If anybody is looking for a quick little pick-me-up or is wanting to get inspired themselves. And also, there's no sponsors on this podcast. There's no affiliates or anything like that. And I don't want to necessarily endorse Tom Green and all the things that he does, even though, I personally consume some of the things that he's doing in his podcast currently. So if that's something that you are interested in, kind of seeing where my ideas came from for this little setup, check out what Tom Green is doing on YouTube as well right now, because it's cool to watch. It's really cool to see things birthed from the ground up. I wish I can say that this podcast has been at this level for the past 2 years that I've been doing it, but it's not. And sometimes you got to see somebody doing something new to, reignite your spark to go do something new for yourself. And that's where we're at, and that's where I will leave you. So guys, please remember to stay positive. Always be yourself. I truly mean that. Do what you want to do. And as long as you're not hurting anybody else along the way, I think that is a pretty good thing to be honest with yourself on the things that you like doing. I'm talking to the wrong camera again. I'll get it. I promise you I'll get it. I will stay positive doing it, and I will remember to look at the correct cameras. So guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you again so much. As always, stay positive, be yourself. Follow us on Coffee and Crullers at Instagram, and send us an email, coffeeandcrullers@gmail.com, blah, blah, blah. I said it all already. I'm just going in circles because I do not know how to end these podcasts. So I am just going to go ahead and toss this up and say goodbye. So see you later. It didn't work. Okay. See you later.